into your pipes. And we're going to be listening to Dr. Greg Kuldanek. And Dr. Greg is one of the wonderful members, physicians of our health panel. And he is joining us, and he is going to give us a presentation on the biggest aspect of our sustenance, and sadly, the most overlooked part of what keeps us going. So, Dr. Greg, are you with us?
I am, Woodson. Can you hear me?
We hear you loud and clear. So please take it away.
Great. Yeah, when I asked you what you wanted me to do this Sunday for a presentation, I really didn't have any great ideas. But then I looked at the water quality of coming out of my tap. And it just dawned on me. And I think that, we take it for granted, water. I mean, in our country, pretty much it's everywhere. I'm on the West Coast now, so that they worry about water a little bit more because they had a little bit of a drought, but I haven't experienced any shortages or anything like that. But I wanted to know what was in my water. Okay, and so the subtitle of this is Water, Water Everywhere, but is it safe to drink? We assume that what we're drinking, that what comes out of our tap is going to be good, clean water. Now water, as you said, it is the single most important nutrient, and we really don't think of it as a nutrient. But without it, we'll die. We can go without food for many days and even weeks. But water, 3 or 4 days without a drop of water and you're dead, okay? The average, every living organism is made mostly of water, and we're no exception. We're over 90% water, okay? Think about that. Without water, we would not exist, it's plain and simple. The average person, and someone weighing less than 200 pounds, needs a minimum of 100 ounces per day, 3 liters per day. And if you're over 200 pounds, the simple formula is to divide your weight by 2, and that's the number of ounces you need to consume. For example, a 240-pound individual, divide 240 by 2, that comes out to be 120 ounces. Okay, and that's such a great, such an important part of the Migrate 28 program, is making sure that you drink that water. Because if you're not getting that water in your system, and the focus on my talk tonight is not getting the water in, but making sure it's good, clean water, okay? Because we know, we've learned through Migrate 28 that a very large portion of the weight problem that we have, and the difficulty of getting rid of the weight, okay, releasing the weight, is due to the toxins. Okay, so here we are telling you, you've got to drink 3 liters of water per day minimum, okay? But we're also stressing it's got to be good, clean water, okay? And that's what prompted me to talk about this tonight. Now, when I looked at the quality of the water in the Palm Springs area, I went to a website, okay, and I'm going to give it to you right now. It's www.ewg. Now that is the Environmental Working Group.org/tapwater. So it's ewg.org/tapwater. Okay, and that will take you to the National Drinking Water Database. Okay, and then if you look up in the upper right region there, it will say what's in your water, zip code, and your water company. So you could put in your zip code of your community. If you don't know your water company, just leave it blank, and they will find all of the water companies in your area in that zip code, and then you can select your own. And usually it's by municipality. Every municipality pretty much has their own water system. Okay, so this was the Desert Water Agency in Riverside County, California, the Palm Springs area. Okay, and it tells you that the test data available is between 2004 and 2009. They don't have anything more recent than that. But quite truthfully, these companies, everybody has different guidelines. Every state has different guidelines. And quite truthfully, they're not going to really make any major changes to how they filter the water or what they do to the water to remove some of these toxins unless they're really pressured to do so. Okay? So when we look at the first part of this report, we go down exceeded health guidelines. Well, there were 7 different chemicals compared to the national average of 4. Okay, well that doesn't look good. Health standard exceedances, how many chemicals were found that actually exceeded what they considered healthy levels? 3, compared to the national average of 1/2. How many different pollutants were found? 18 chemicals. The national average is 8. Tests conducted, 5,117 separate tests were conducted on the water from this drinking system over these years of monitoring, and the national average was 420. Well, why did they have to run so many different tests? Well, because they were exceeding limits, and that's to my mind is very, very concerning, because this is stuff that I've been drinking, and other people drink. And patients of mine are drinking this water, and I have to take care of them. So it's of some concern. So, the next part of the report, on the next slide, gives you sort of a graphical analysis of some of the things that they found in the water, okay? And the little light gray dots or circles means it was tested. The darker gray means it was detected. The yellow circle means it was over health guidelines, and the red dot was over legal limits. Okay, so when I look at the first one on the report, and it's in alphabetical order. No, it's not in alphabetical order. I thought it was, but it's the alpha particle activity, okay? And they went up to 15 picocuries per liter, okay? Well, alpha particles are radiation, okay? And you could see that there's a number of red dots there and a lot of yellow dots. So it's consistently over health guidelines and occasionally over the legal limit. Now, a little comment on that picocurie, okay? The curie comes from the Curies, husband and wife. They were in France. Marie and I'm drawing a blank on her husband's name, but they discovered radium. So they were sort of the fathers of and mother of the nuclear age, our awareness of nuclear activity. And guess what? Both of those individuals, they won Nobel Prizes, but they also died of cancers, okay, from their research with radium, okay, so the radiation exposure. So that's very concerning. Aluminum. Okay, there's a lot of concern about aluminum and how it can, affect us and possibly lead to Alzheimer's and bone disease and all sorts of other problems. And again, I see there are 3 red circles along that line. Okay, so that means that it was over the legal limit. Okay, here we go again. Uranium. Okay, and we all know what uranium is. It's another radioactive substance. Okay, and it's consistently detected in the tap water here, and occasionally it's over the legal limit. Okay, radium, another radioactive substance, again, okay, over health guidelines frequently in my tap water. Okay, when we look at combined radium-226, and then the bottom one, arsenic. Okay, well, arsenic, nobody wants arsenic in their system. Okay, arsenic is a poison, and not that these other things aren't, but that's something that has me greatly concerned. Fortunately, it was in about 2004, and it hasn't been detected since. But it makes you wonder about the quality of the tap water, and it certainly has me very concerned about my tap water here in the Palm Springs area. So let's move on to the next slide, and this illustrates another part of the report here, and it shows other detected contaminants. There's nitrates, nitrates and nitrites, vanadium, barium, manganese, perchlorate, chloroform, trihalomethanes. Anytime you see that word halo, it means that there's a benzene ring in there. A lot of things are a lot of compounds of this nature are carcinogens and hormone disruptors. Okay, very toxic indeed. Chromium. And then there's beta particle activity, another type of radiation detected in the tap water at least on one occasion. Okay, and then I believe the final part of this report here looks at. Oh, no, I'm sorry. This gives you a summary of the pollutants that were found in the tap water. Okay, there we go. We see total contaminants detected, 18. Barium, chromium, manganese, nitrates, nitrites, chromium, vanadium, chloroform, those trihalomethanes, perchlorate, beta particles, aluminum, arsenic, radium, actually 3 different types of radium, alpha particles, and uranium. So, and then it breaks them down into, into their different categories down below there. But, very concerned about the tap water, and very concerned indeed about the radioactive substances that can be found in the tap water, if not, on a daily basis, but they can occur because some of these things are naturally occurring, it's hard to filter these things out, but I want to know what I'm drinking, and if there's potentially radioactive substances in the tap water, I want to stay away from it. Okay, so the final part of the report looks at how many violations, and I think that's on the next slide. So, and also the remedies. So they had one violation and one where they were required to monitor things more closely. So I would encourage everybody, okay, who is on a municipal water system. Now, people who have pumps, unfortunately, if you're pumping the water out of the ground yourself, you would have to get independent testing done on it. But for everybody else who's got a municipal water supply, this environmental working group has an easy way for you to see what's going on with your water. Now, when I used to live in Grand Rapids, the water quality there was substantially better. But I'll tell you, the best community pretty much in the state of Michigan was the city of Detroit. They had the cleanest, the best tasting water, which you wouldn't think with the auto industry and everything else going on there and their hard times. But still in all, they've got a great municipal water system, which is very clean and very well maintained and very well cared for. So, well, what do we do? What's a recommendation? For getting the water in that we need. And if you think that the tap water is bad, you're going to naturally think, well, bottled water. Well, that's not the answer either. Okay, and the environmental working group has looked at a number of bottled waters, and the unfortunate thing about bottled water is there really are no standards. Okay, it's not necessarily filtered. Okay, it's pretty much water, tap water, or it's pumped out of the ground. Some of the sources for this water are good, and some of them are not so good. Okay, so there really isn't a lot of regulation in this industry. Also, the FDA has mandated what type of plastic that this water can be bottled in and sold to us through, but nobody has really looked at what types of chemicals or compounds are leached from the plastic into the water that's in the bottle. Okay, and so we just don't know. Okay, we do know that there's a lot of chemicals in plastic. Most plastics are byproducts of the petroleum industry, and a lot of the and most of the stuff made out of petroleum is toxic. So it just makes sense that that some of this stuff is going to be getting into our water if it's in a bottle, and we're going to be ingesting it. And if we drink a lot of it, is that going to be harmful for our health? okay, and we don't know. This environmental working group has a great resource as well for looking at bottled waters. There are some bottled waters that are better than others, but I will tell you, none of them scored an A. Okay, none of them got the best rating, and the truth of the matter is, get your tap water and filter it as efficiently as you can. So the 5 reasons, okay, Mad Mondays. So we really don't know what's coming out of this plastic and getting into our water and getting into our bodies. So that's one reason for getting rid of it. Toxic Tuesday here, okay. They found 38 brands, or 38 pollutants in 10 brands of bottled water, including chemicals linked to cancer. Okay, so their tests, demonstrate that the purity of bottled water cannot be trusted. So you just can't know what's in the water. Okay, Wednesday is the next slide here, and No Waste Wednesday. Think of all the bottles of water that are produced annually. Billions of these little plastic bottles. Some of them are ridiculously small, and some of them are much larger. Okay, but very few of these bottles actually get recycled. Okay, and so about 70% of them wind up in landfills or elsewhere. On the side of the roads, in rivers and streams and lakes. They get thrown everywhere, and this plastic does not decompose. Okay, so to get rid of the waste, use a reusable container. Okay, and then the next reason is, change here, Thirsty Thursday. Fill up a filter. Their studies have shown, okay, that getting a good filter, replacing it regularly, and using your tap water, okay, is going to remove most of the contaminants that are going to be found in the water, okay, and it's going to be much more environmentally friendly. And the final slide is going to demonstrate that it's going to save you a lot of money. Okay, what we don't realize, and this was a shocker to me, that bottled water is 1,900 times more expensive than tap water. Okay, who in their right mind would pay that kind of markup, okay, for water? But I mean, these bottling companies, do a great job on advertising, and it's just amazing. It's pure profit for them, and you're paying 1,900 times more than you should, okay, for the water that you're drinking. Okay, so it's more expensive. There's no guarantee that it's going to be better for you. The plastic, could actually be leaching chemicals into the water, and these empty bottles, if they're not recycled, which very few of them are going to wind up polluting the environment. So the moral of the story is, get a good quality water filter and filter your tap water. Okay. Now the purity water filter, this is one that I have used, and I've recommended a lot of people to use it. This filter, okay, at the core of the filter is zeolite. Okay, and you've all heard about zeolite. Zeolite is an amazing substance in the Restorix that helps remove all the toxins from our system. But guess what? It removes toxins from other things as well, including water. Okay, it will remove bacteria, protozoa, viruses, parasites. Okay, and when you look at the rating, okay, river water, tap water, bottled water, filtered water, purity removes more impurities than even one of the best home filters. Okay, it is truly amazing. The zeolite will remove heavy metals. It will also remove radiation. In fact, when they had that, it was a tsunami or hurricane in Japan where the nuclear reactor was compromised, the Japanese government bought up as much zeolite as they could to put around that nuclear reactor because they knew the zeolite would absorb the radiation that was leaking from it. Okay, so my plan is to drink only tap water that comes through my Purity filter. And this is something, if you're interested in the Purity filter, you can talk to your health coach. They can make sure that you get the resource needed to buy one of these. The filters last 2 months. They'll filter, they've been rated up to 50 gallons, but they didn't test them beyond that. But I'm sure, if you're drinking a lot of water, that 50 gallons, you could exceed that limit quite handily with this filter. It is overbuilt. That's the best way to talk about that. So that's my little story. I was definitely surprised to see what was in my tap water. I would encourage all of you to check out this www.ewg.org/tapwater to see what's in your tap water. This site is truly amazing. It talks about pesticides on foods. If you're concerned about what you're putting into your body, and we all should be concerned, this is a great resource to find out what's in it and how to get rid of it or prevent ourselves from putting more into our bodies. So that's it, Woodson.
Oh, I thought that was fantastic. I learned so much and cannot believe how we have not been talking about this more often. And I want to thank you for putting all of that together for this presentation. I'm getting text messages like crazy. And I really, really appreciate that. I'm going to go to EWG right now as soon as we are done. And for everybody listening, we will see you next week. Send us your photos. Photos are coming in. We're going to have a big reveal here coming up. Go like us on our Facebook page. We're gathering awesome recipes. We're getting all of those catalogs to, again, have a big reveal with that. So we want you to keep on going and keep up the great work. And Dr. Greg, I'm serious. That training was fantastic. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you, Woodson. It's always much easier to talk about something when it hits you home real hard. Okay, so when I saw that water quality report, I said, "My goodness, this is terrible," and I just want to make sure that all of our listeners have the opportunity to check what their water is like, because it doesn't make sense to try to eliminate toxins if we're pouring them back in.
I agree. That was exactly with my eureka moment, going, holy smokes. So everybody, if you're watching and you want to know more about the Purity filter, it is the most scientifically advanced on the market. Call your coach, and we will definitely get you connected and make sure that we get that on its way to you. But I agree with what Dr. Greg said. Find out really what you're dealing with in your backyard. And really get a grip on what's going on, and the more that and empower other people with this knowledge. I promise you, you've probably started a big chain reaction of website hits that are going to go to EWG, so we appreciate it.
Yeah. And this is not a publicly funded website. I think they rely on donations and whatnot. So it really is an unbiased group. They really are trying to make sure they get good quality information to individuals so that, one, you can take action in your own home, but two, contact your water company and say, hey, why is all this stuff in my water, and talk to your neighbors about that, because it's only with sort of pressure will they make changes and clean things up.
You're exactly right. And to everyone, thank you so much for joining us. Have a fantastic evening, a fantastic week. Keep us posted. Keep up the progress. Keep up the great work. And we appreciate you so much and love each and every one of you here at Migrate 28. And thank you again, Dr. Greg.
It was my pleasure, and everybody can get back to the Super Bowl now.
All right. Good night.
Well, all right. Have a good night.